Vietnam and the United States made progress during a third round of trade negotiations last week, but critical issues remain unresolved, requiring further analysis and continued dialogue, Vietnam's trade ministry said on Sunday. The talks, in Washington, D.C. from June 9-12, were held as a pause on 46% reciprocal tariffs on Vietnamese exports approaches expiration in early July, adding pressure on both sides to reach a compromise. The United States and Vietnam have a complex relationship marked by a past conflict, the Vietnam War, and a present-day partnership focused on areas like defense cooperation, trade, and addressing war legacy issues. While the war resulted in significant casualties and deep divisions, both countries have worked to normalize relations and build a comprehensive strategic partnership. Vietnam is considered a potential ally in the geopolitical context of the South China Sea and the containment of Chinese threat. Vietnam's trade surplus with the United States surged to $12.2 billion in May, up nearly 42% year-on-year and 17% higher than April, Vietnamese government data showed. Exports to the U.S. climbed 42% from a year earlier to $13.8 billion, hitting a post-pandemic high. U.S. negotiators have submitted a list of trade demands to Hanoi, which Vietnamese officials described as tough, including measures aimed at reducing Vietnam's reliance on Chinese imports of industrial materials and components. Vietnam's trade ministry said on Sunday the delegations had narrowed gaps on issues outlined in Vietnam's response to the U.S. requests and worked toward mutually acceptable solutions. As Vietnam's government attempts to revert President Donald Trump's threatened 46% tariff, it has launched a crackdown on counterfeit products, in part to demonstrate its responsiveness to U.S. concerns. Now there are streets filled with shuttered shops in Hanoi and rows of closed stalls at Saigon Square Shopping Mall, a major clothing market in Ho Chi Minh City. Communist-run Vietnam is a manufacturing powerhouse that produces clothing and footwear for international brands, with the United States its number one export market in the first 5 months of 2025. But it also has a thriving market for counterfeit goods. In a report published by the U.S. Trade Representative in January, Saigon Square Shopping Mall was identified as a major market for the sale of counterfeit luxury items, including handbags, wallets, jewelry, and watches. The report noted government efforts to stamp out the trade, but stated that low penalties have had little deterrent effect, and that counterfeit products remain rampant. Shop owner Hoa, a pseudonym to protect her identity, said almost all of the fake Nike, Lacoste and North Face products she sells in her shop in Hanoi's Old Quarter are from China, but tagged with a "Made in Vietnam" label to make them seem authentic. Hanoi and Washington are in the thick of trade talks, with Vietnam doing everything it can to avoid the crushing 46% tariff that could come into force in early July. Vietnam's trade ministry ordered authorities in April to tighten control over the origin of goods after the Trump administration accused the country of facilitating Chinese exports to the United States and allowing Beijing to get around tariffs. The Public Security Ministry also said there would be a 3-month-long crackdown, until mid-August, on counterfeit goods. Nguyen Than Nam, deputy head of the Agency for Domestic Market Surveillance and Development, said last week that in the first 5 months of the year, more than 7,000 cases of counterfeit products worth more than $8 million had been discovered. He added that 1,000 fake Rolex watches had been seized from the Saigon Square Shopping Mall. Mounds of vitamins, cosmetics, and sweets, seemingly also counterfeits, have appeared at waste grounds outside cities including Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Da Nang, while fake electronics, including Marshall speakers and smartwatches, have been confiscated. Police have not specified the origin of the goods. However, Vietnam was Southeast Asia's largest buyer of Chinese products in 2024, with a total bill of $161.9 billion. The effort partly reflects Vietnam's intent to show responsiveness to U.S. concerns, he said. It has also expressed willingness to lower non-tariff barriers and increase imports of U.S. goods such as planes, farm products, and energy, though no purchase agreements have been announced.